Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review of the CW's The Vampire Diaries. This week we've seen Season 7, Episode 17, which is called I Went Into the Woods. Or I Went to the Woods, excuse me. I apologize again for the lateness, but you guys usually expect that now. I was home yesterday, but, I took the opportunity to, actually go see Star Wars The Force Awakens in theaters with my father at a plaza that was still playing it. And you guys, you're good like that. The people who watch this, the usuals and the new people, they still seem pretty interactive with when I put my video reviews up a couple days later, and this is only the next day, so I figured it'd be alright with you guys. Really enjoyed Star Wars last night, but at the same time, I was happy to get back to the Vampire Diaries, the originals, and the usual stuff today. Because yes, I really like Star Wars, but in the end, shows like the Vampire Diaries and my other favorites, they take priority. They're more important to me. And imagine how many people would be banging on my door if everyone knew I put the Vampire Diaries over Star Wars. But hey, it's just me, and it's just the case, so deal with it. But anyway, both really good episodes of the Vampire Diaries and the originals this week. And that may be in part because, at least with the Vampire Diaries, I've been feeling good about the originals for the most part of the season. Here and there it's been a little bit off too, but with the Vampire Diaries I was kind of getting a little bit about it lately. But I just, after doing the video about Kat Graham leaving after season 8, I just had a conversation with a couple people, and I just got reminded of how much I still love the show. Even if it's not quite what it was a few seasons ago, I still think it's definitely worth seeing through to the end, and luckily to go along with it, we actually got a good episode this week, so I was happy about that. Like I said, so the episode was called I Went to the Woods, and of course it's focused on Stefan, and of course his body, or his, not really his body, but his soul was switched out with someone else's, because after the Pheonix Stone and the sword that Rayna used was destroyed, a lot of us were wondering what it was actually going to do. With it being destroyed, was it just going to free everyone and everything would go back to normal for the people that were trapped in there, or the vampires that were trapped in there, but you know what I mean, or would it, I was thinking it might actually condemn them, to just like a permanent abyss of nothing. But now it turns out it actually just sends off all these souls into random bodies, not really mattering who they are or what they are, really. So that definitely made things chaotic this week. Stefan was put into a guy named Marty, and some more evil serial killer type of guy goes into Stefan's body. So that was chaotic for sure. I still like that we got to see Paul Wesley as the Marty guy, though, so we get to see Paul Wesley act out of the part of really trying to survive on his own with only his basic instincts, relying only on his basis intelligence, no like vampire advantages or anything like that. So I thought him like moving around the woods was actually kind of cool, survival wise. I don't know, I mean, it wasn't like hardcore survival stuff or anything, but I still thought it was made for some good scenes, seeing Stefan trying to make it in a different way. Like right when Stefan wakes up in this body, we see one of his first initial instincts right away. He saves some of these cheerleaders off a burning bus, and the authorities show up and they find out he's actually in the body of the driver who caused the accident in the first place. He's known as a drunk, so that definitely put Stefan at a disadvantage. And initially Stefan thought he was dead or trapped in the Pheonix Stone, and he was trapped in his own personal like loop of hell, just being tortured over and over. He was waiting for it, he was asking for it, but no, it turned into what I just said it was. So yeah, that part was, I actually thought it was something like that first too, but then I actually remembered what happened last week. I had to regain some of my focus, but I got on eventually. I did like the initial conversation between Damon and Valerie, mourning Stefan. Just the way Damon sits there and just you can see that look, just that loss in his eyes. I still think Ian Somerhalder portrays that pretty well. Of course, Damon wants to find Rayna, even if he doesn't truly believe that there's a loophole with this. There's still a way to bring Stefan back. He doesn't want to be all depressing. He doesn't want to act like Valerie and be a Debbie Downer, as he said. So Damon wants to find Rayna. Of course, we see some of Valerie's grief with losing Stefan, at least for the moment. And then, of course, Rayna's the one who actually tells Valerie and the others about the vampire souls being scattered in random bodies. Matt actually calls Alaric. We haven't seen Alaric for a while. I missed him, and at this point he's proposed to Caroline and stuff like that, and that still feels weird to me. I'm sure it feels weird to everyone else too. Still feels random. Would have helped if we actually seen him doing it. Maybe if we seen a little bit of the build up to him actually feeling that way for Caroline, maybe I would have been able to buy into it a little bit more, but it just kind of feels just tacked on. I don't really feel like they're a couple, even though they're supposed to be at this point. But as Alaric says later, he fell for her, but she just did it to make it more convenient for the children when they grow up, I guess. But of course, she's obviously still in love with Stefan, most likely. But again, I just wish, as weird as it is, at the very least, I just wish we would have seen the process of Alaric starting to feel that way for her, instead of it just kind of already being there. But again, it's good to see Alaric. Again, Rayna kind of warns them all, or not really warns them, she doesn't really care about them so much. Well, she might see that some of them are good people, but she doesn't personally invest in them yet, I don't think. I'm still kind of curious to where they're going to take Rayna's character. I think she has potential. I hope they kind of keep her around, actually, so she can potentially grow into something else. We'll see. And it was really brutal seeing Stefan getting the cuffs off himself when he finds that cabin. Which is kind of convenient, but again, it's a TV show. You kind of gotta roll with it sometimes. Again, it was brutal seeing Stefan just kind of dislocating different parts of himself or breaking different parts of himself. It made me cringe a little bit, and I like Laric's line about the hundreds of Twitter reports about the zombie apocalypse. With all the the serial killer vampires, doing random shit in random bodies, it's gonna cause a panic for sure. And so I like a little shot of Twitter there. And apparently Rayna also says that, or I forget if it was Rayna who said it, but we find out that there's only 3 days for the vampires to live in these bodies. And there's also a manhunt on for Marty or Stefan, because again, Stefan's in this body and he's now seen as a guy who caused an accident with a bunch of kids on board, and now he just ran off from the police. So it's kind of bad. And I laugh about it, but that's just I'm weird. You don't want to really get into me. Let's see, of course, Alaric and Valerie finally connect the dots about Marty actually being Stefan. Stefan kind of talks to himself about, the pain of being human, how he used to miss it, but now every little part of him aches and stuff like that. It's just irritating the hell out of him. And he finally gets this car started. I think he does anyway. I'm kind of a little bit foggy right now because I just watched the originals episode 2, and I kind of want to talk about that as well. But Stefan is able to get away from the cabin, and then he sort of sticks it to Marty. Let's see. And Damon's driving along with this vampire in Stefan's body, and then he escapes, and so Damon has to try and go off and find him. Of course, Rayna just wants to go off and start her hunt all over again. She just wants to destroy all these bodies left and right, all these vampires. She doesn't really care who's in them. And again, part of her warning was not, she knows Stefan is a good person at this point. She's talked about that before, but yet she still, has this thing inside her that, pushes her to go after him anyway. But as she says, not every one of these souls were just happened to be a do-gooder like Stefan. Some of them were actual, killers and very evil, creatures potentially. And she said she's put down some of the worst of them, from the past 200 years anyway. Of course, Valerie wants to find Stefan's body so she can do some kind of spell to put him back in his own. I did like Damon got closer to finding Stefan, and he put on a police jacket and he pretended to be Matt Donovan. I thought that was pretty funny. I'm Matt Donovan. I'm the finest officer you ever met. He compels the other cop. That was hilarious, I thought. Of course, Damon doesn't think too highly of Matt, so he's kind of sarcastically playing on what everyone else sees Matt is, or some of them anyway. He questions the girl. He finds out, that she was supposedly attacked by Marty, but it was really just Stefan in his body trying to get a phone so he could call someone. But of course, how will she know that? Probably the best scene of the episode was Damon and Stefan's phone conversation with each other. Just those scenes were really well acted on the parts of both Ian Somerhalder and Paul Wesley. Damon again owning up to what he is, saying he's selfish, and Stefan just really making him sink it in, everything he's done lately or not done. How he went off and put himself in the coffin just to give himself to Rayna a little bit sooner, but Damon sees it as him preventing himself from making mistakes more often until Rayna gets back. And again, they are retreading old storylines here, I think. Just the fact that Stefan's seeing Damon like this again, we've done that plenty of times before, and I think Damon's shown himself quite a few times that he's not completely selfish and things like that with or without Rayna. He's grown to something better now, but it just feels funny that they're retreading that. It kind of feels a little bit tedious, I think, but still really well acted scenes. And Damon eventually finds Stefan. The whole hide and seek thing that I talked about from their childhood leading up to that was really touching too, as they slowly kind of made up with each other, but not really. Of course, Stefan's warned by Damon about his body slowly dying that he's in, and then Stefan eats all the donuts. And that's something he must stop being human too, indulging in crap like that. Then Alaric and Valerie actually have a good scene, both of them acknowledging that they're kind of both selfishly hoping that Alaric can be with Caroline and Stefan goes back to Valerie, so that was kind of fun and touching at the same time. I don't really want to talk about the Alaric and Caroline thing again right now. And then of course they find out the person in Stefan's body is this fraternity college type killer, notorious. He was never caught though, and then we see him setting up a bunch of other college kids to be killed off. So that's kind of where the episode ends. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the episode overall. Again, it was a very good one, and I was really just in a better mindset about the Vampire Diaries this week, and I did enjoy it. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it too. As always, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to talk about more of it with you guys. If there's anything I didn't mention that you wanted to hear more about or something. I'm trying to get both this review and the originals review done before I have to go to work, so I apologize if some of this is kind of rushed, and the next one as well. But anyway, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Movie Pilot, and look for me on spoiled.com. Catch you guys next time for the originals, and peace.